60 seconds, oh boy. Woo. Premiere will begin shortly, okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is Scott gonna have a better mic this time?
Scott,
oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
What's in the box?
Huh?
I think as the 10-year anniversary is upon us, I will give this as my gift to the fan base on this 10th anniversary.
Oh my god.
What's in the box is...
Oh man, okay. I wasn't expecting any actual answers. We're gonna get an answer? What? Okay. This is why I was recording, just in case.
Mabel.
Yeah, she's the best.
But,
hey everybody, how's it going? Dawko, good to see you again.
Yeah,
and he does have a better
6
mic,
years
it's great.
Since the last interview, right? Which is crazy. A lot of things have been happening since then, so let's go back a little bit. So the interview was August 2018.
The whole Steel Wool era. God, I'd love to hear
on.
Scott's thoughts on Security Breach.
It doesn't. How long did you say ago? It was 6 years ago. That's hard
ago.
to believe.
I
That's
know.
impossible to believe.
I know, right?
It really feels like it should have only been like 2 years ago.
I've got a song for you that I'm going to play for you to celebrate the 10-year anniversary.
My perception of time is
Okay,
horrible.
well, this is getting things off to a kind of an awkward start, but I'll let you go on ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Come on now, you started this.
Right, okay. Ready? I'm really good. I'm really good.
Great song, Dawko.
Now, I will admit that I couldn't actually hear that. I don't know if you're...
I actually played a spell.
Oh.
The spell is from 1864.
And it's to make him
by
tell
a
us the
wizard.
lore.
Tell me all
Yep,
the lore
mhm.
of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, jeez. Now, I thought we talked about this in advance. Now, listen. This is a bad idea to start talking about lore. All right, well, here, you'll have to give me specific questions,
Ooh.
and I'll see what I can answer for you.
I was joking.
But I make no promises.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, tell me what's in
Okay,
the
okay,
box.
come on.
Wow, just direct. Just out and direct, just like that.
Yeah.
Well, look, okay. It's the 10-year anniversary, okay? And even though I like to be elusive, I like to kind of tease the fan base. I like to, and I do like there to be an air of mystery about things.
Maybe a bit
Sometimes
too much,
I do let
honestly.
things go on for too long.
Yes,
I
you do.
understand that sometimes
You do. I'm
things
sorry,
become
Scott.
not fun anymore, and things can become frustrating for theorists.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So, okay, I think as the 10-year anniversary is upon us,
I swear, Scott,
I will
if
give
you
this
if
as
you
my,
give us a joke answer, I'm gonna be
as
sad.
my gift to the fan base on this 10th anniversary. What's in the box is...
Oh, come on.
Oh my god.
And that's about it. And that's it. And
Wait, so he actually told Dawko? Oh, okay, good.
So like we've been speaking about,
I had a feeling they were going to do that.
Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a crazy.
I either
amount
thought
of
it was going to be a
time.
joke or they were
I
going
can't
to leave
believe
it for
we're
the
still
end.
here.
When you see everybody getting hyped up and getting excited, if suddenly something comes out that just is a big letdown, there's no greater fear, I think, for a game developer. So
that really
that
makes
was
me want
always
to know how you feel about Security
satisfying and a
Breach, because
relief,
I
but I
love
think
Security
I think the
Breach, but
biggest
most of the
highlight
fan base was not happy.
probably just going. So to be able to actually go sit in the theater and hear the reaction from everybody and hear the fans really enjoy it, that was definitely that was definitely a moment of just real happiness for me, I think.
Literally 9 years.
Man, I could not imagine what it would feel
know,
like to be
having
Scott
ups and
seeing
downs, you know,
your movie
getting the
after
script
9
right
years.
as well. I know you've said we couldn't believe it, and we didn't even make the games. We've been there since, you know, basically
Exactly.
day
You're
one. But we all said, like,
I want to talk, but I don't want to talk over Dawko.
Right now, you know, just sitting down and seeing it actually, you know, on the big screen.
All I can say is when I saw the movie, I felt so proud for Scott.
Yeah, and now that I've
even
been
though
through the
I'm
process,
not a part of
I can
the
tell you
creation
it's a
of
miracle
FNaF
that
at
any
all,
movie gets made.
it
Just being
felt
through that
very
process,
personal to me.
How many
just because how much I
wheels
care
have to
about
be
this
turning
franchise.
at the same time, and how many things. And even though this process took a long
And
time,
I know I don't
for
know
me,
Scott personally,
Hollywood
but I
works
was
at
so
just
proud of him
blazing
for
speed, where
being
there's
able to
100
get
things
out the
happening at the
movie.
same time, and it's a miracle if these things
God, I
get
love FNaF
coordinated.
so
Sometimes
much.
things don't work out. But
Has he
starting
said
with
you know
2015.
yet? Come on, Scott, you got to say you know.
You know, there were a couple
There it is.
deals, and so I was really fortunate to meet up with Jason Blum and get to have that deal with Blumhouse. You know, they had a lot of faith in the project, and they were following my lead on a lot of things.
We really are lucky.
Sometimes
that
to a
Scott
fault,
ended up with
because
Blumhouse.
lots of times I would throw things out and want to start over, but they were with me the whole journey. They were with me and they believed in the vision, and everybody just had the fans at heart. That's all anybody wanted to do. Everybody was just making sure that every part of the movie would be something that the fan base would look at and recognize or relate to or connect with. And I think in the end, we were able to accomplish that. And
I agree.
I'm just really happy with that. And I think we landed with just the perfect cast.
I love the FNaF
again, that
movie
almost
so
didn't happen
much.
either. There were
if you could go back and change one thing in those 10 years, do you have anything that you would change?
That's a good question.
You can't say the box.
No, the one thing I would change, I wish I could go back and have one more shot at
Please
FNaF
do!
World. I really do.
Oh my god, please.
I know it still would probably definitely be the oddball in the series.
Please go back to it.
doubt.
I've been wanting a FNaF World remake
maybe it
for
would still have been a
years.
poor
Scott,
decision in
please give it
general,
to me.
but there were decisions that were
Please,
made.
Scott, I beg.
That really
I
hindered
beg
that.
you.
And also, I was in a rush because I was getting a little arrogant, thinking that, hey, anything I make is going to be gold, and I definitely ate some humble pie with that really quick, and I learned that is not the case.
Well, that is a good thing.
And
but
so I've tried to be very careful not to make that
FNaF
mistake
Worlds.
again after that. But yeah, if I could go back and change one thing, I wish I could maybe work with a different developer.
Please.
Just really make it a high resolution.
You're working
game,
with
get some
Click Team and
really good
Unreal to
graphics where you
make
get
5
someone
Laps
else
at Freddy's.
help you with
Please,
those
FNaF
graphics.
World remake.
It could have
please.
been a good game. Could have been a good game. Who knows? Maybe somewhere
It
down
was
the
a
line,
good game,
if
but
I
it
get
could have
really
been
antsy
great.
about it and have a lot of free time on my hands. Maybe FNaF 2 or FNaF World 2 might be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Scott,
about
please,
to say
please,
that,
please.
You could still get a different company to do a FNaF World game. It's not over
Please,
yet.
Scott, please,
I think I've
please,
said
please,
this to you
please.
before. I love
beg,
FNaF
I
World.
beg.
I think it is so
It is. I love
underrated, and
FNaF World
I
so
always
much.
say FNaF World is underrated. I love it so much. There's just a charm to it. I really do. And I know you don't like it, but
I wish
absolutely love
Scott
it, man.
did. I love
really
FNaF
do.
World.
I love everything about it.
If I had allowed myself to work on it for one more year, just like really double its development cycle and let it be a high res game, I bet it would have really been something. But like I said, who knows? Maybe for the sequel
Please.
someday.
Let's move on
Please.
to Steelwall.
Okay.
The amazing Steelwall Studios. That was the next
God, the
game
possibility of a
after
FNaF World
Night
remake,
Help wanted.
please.
What
I really honestly believe that I landed
That's
with
good.
the best. Just
I agree.
One of the best.
Steel
one of
Wool
the
is
best
awesome, and
development
I
companies.
love them.
I didn't even get jump scared by Foxy. I was just in there in the darkness, and I knew I wasn't going to do it. And I never played it again. And I never
That's
played
awesome.
Hellpoint. And I never played Hellpoint 2 either. And I'm not going to.
I need
Aww.
to understand it though, right? Because in the past, like when I've obviously done videos on Help Wanted 1 and 2, I get a comment saying like, it's not that scary.
Seriously,
You're
people
overreacting,
who
it's not that
haven't
bad."
played it in
But
VR don't
you
understand.
don't know until you've literally put on the headset, right?
Yeah.
It's completely different,
It
just
is.
watching it from a screen is compared to having the actual headset on. It's terrifying.
Yeah, completely different experience. So I love the idea of Glitch Trap. I'm not a huge fan of the name. And here's the way that these things happen, okay? And this happened with Burn Trap too. Whenever
Ooh.
I'm in the planning phase with Steel Wool, we come up with temporary names for these characters.
Can you tell us what the real name
we're
should
doing
be?
and once someone finds them in the source code, that's it. Like that's the canon name now, and there's nothing I can do
What
about
would you
it.
want their names to be, though?
hopefully,
I'd love
hopefully
to know.
we're learning our. I'm not a huge fan of the name, but it is what it is for now. It's the name.
For now.
I love Glitch Trap's name. Could you think of a name like on the spot, like what you would want to call it?
Please
or
answer
not?
this.
Oh, I have no idea, but you know what?
Okay.
A good example is Nexus, from Ruin. Now that was a character where, even in just my design of the game, I thought that through, and I came up with that, and I'm really happy with it. I really like that name. It's a really cool name. But now, see, if I didn't have one of those ready to fire off, I
It'd
might
be
have thought of
Purple
something
Trap?
like,
Yep, okay. I was going to say
Purple
Shadow Trap.
or AI Trap, or just something temporary, and then that would have been the can name. That would have been so much worse than Nexus. So
After Help
It would have
Wanted,
caused so much more
we got
confusion, too.
Security Breach. Were you happy with the release of Security
Oh,
Breach
good
when it first
question.
came out?
Security Breach. There's a really big story behind that.
That you're not able to tell.
That was definitely a challenging period, and a lot of things just didn't align up perfectly for that, and there were a lot of reasons for that. I had a specific
Oh my
story
God.
for this in mind. Okay, for Security Breach, I really did. I had a very specific story in mind, and it is very different than the one that got in the
Yup.
game.
Oh my god.
And I think a part of that is the way that I conveyed that to Steel Wool, because what I was trying to do was I was trying to tell Steel Wool to do specific things throughout the game, put specific items in specific places.
Oh my god, I feel
have
like I'm gonna
specific
cry just hearing all
characters
this
do certain
information.
things, meanwhile not telling them what the story plot was. Because in my head, I was thinking, okay, when people find this, they will connect this to this to this, and it will all be revealed. And I thought I could do that without telling Steel Wool the
Oh my
story
God.
plot. That didn't work out very well because they got all of these pieces and they thought it was their job to connect them in a way that made sense. And so really what you ended up having were the same pieces, but telling completely different stories.
There was a bunch of clues
I was trying
for
to
stuff that
tell
we
a
didn't
specific
understand.
story with mine that went a certain direction. They were taking pieces I didn't fully understand and trying to craft a story out of them. And again, I don't blame them for that. I blame myself for that because I guess what I should have done is just said, "Hey, here's the story. Here's why these pieces are here. Here's how they're supposed to connect." And I can give you a really easy example for this. And I'm hesitant to say this because I don't like messing with the lore. But I think in this case, it's okay. When it comes to Burn Trap, originally Burn Trap was never supposed to move. He was supposed to just be something you saw in the corners, or like if you were walking past machinery, you might be able to peek in between two things and see him in the corner or propped up against a wall, almost like a some kind of decaying movie prop, and you never fully understood what his purpose was. And he had a very specific purpose, and I'm not going to say what that purpose was, but realistically he never moved. Well, obviously that's not what we got in Security Breach. In Security Breach we got a capsule opening and purple smoke flowing out and him climbing out and coming to get you. And so it's just not quite the same thing. So but anyway, it didn't turn out the way anybody wanted, but hey, whenever that happens, just like whenever I stepped in it a little bit with FNaF World, me and Steel Wool got together, we were like, look, all that matters now is making things right by the fan base. That's all that matters. We all had the best intentions going on. We all wanted to make a good product, and we went in and we made Ruin for it, and I hope that redeemed the game, and I feel like it did because I think it was really great. And anything that we do going forward,
happy to hear Scott's thoughts on
that
Security
story
Breach.
has the same themes.
I've wanted to know
we're
what
just going to be in a much
years.
better situation to continue on.
Do you have a favorite character in the Steel Wool era of games?
I mean, Music Man is too obvious.
Wow, really?
Answer,
okay.
Right? I mean, I think all those characters turned out great. In fact, I think this is why it's hard to pick a favorite because all of them turned out so well. I've always really liked Vanny.
Please talk about Vanny
as a character. I don't think that Vanny was utilized to her fullest
She
potential.
wasn't. It hurts
my soul. Hopefully, we'll see another opportunity for Vanny to return as well. We'll see.
Do.
And so I just went back inside and I looked at my family sleeping. I looked at my baby sleeping and my kids and my wife, and I was like, what have I done? What have I done?
Do you have a relatable story with Fazgoo?
Oh my god.
Look, okay. Listen, anytime there's a series of a whole bunch of different things, you're going to have some that are great, and then some there's like, well, like what was going on with this?
Yeah, Fazgoo's definitely
I don't know how to
those.
explain the Fazgoo. I'm sure I had something in mind that was really great, but they can't all be winners.
It's a fact.
Now I will say a couple of the other ones that had real life connections. Sometimes you hear about people talking about their sleep paralysis demons or whatever, and the Blackbird creature was mine.
Oh.
That creature on the cover of Blackbird is my sleep paralysis demon because I was on vacation.
That's really cool
crazy.
Backstory. But I just have to say Blackbird is my sleep paralysis demon is a funny sentence.
Do you have a least favorite story?
Ooh.
I don't know. I think it probably might be the Fazgoo. Or no, I mean, come on. It's got to be the one where
man,
the guy gets pregnant with Springtrap's baby. I'm not sure what I was thinking about. Again, that's one of those things where, oh man, this is going to be really creepy. But then you step back and look at it from afar, and you're like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
I understood what you were going for.
Matt Pat. That wasn't a story designed with Matt Pat.
Yeah, I didn't
It really,
think so.
really wasn't. you know, listen, whenever you're doing these stories for this long, eventually you just run out of names, and you're going
Yeah.
to cover all the names, you know.
Yeah.
Eventually I'll get around to Dawko, you know, and so if you see Dawko in one of these stories, it's not something
Have
personal,
Lewis
it's just because
as
I
a
ran out of
character.
names, you know.
I don't know. Dorko is a very
Actually, wait, Lewis already is a
specific
character.
name that you'd have to get to. Would you ever
Ooh,
think
please, TV show.
or like the idea of Fazbear Frights ever being like a TV show like Goosebumps, where it's like a series of some of the best stories or something adapted?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would love it
and
so
that's something
much.
that can definitely happen, especially now that the first movie came out and was successful. I think that really opens the door to lots of other potential opportunities. The only thing to be mindful of is I don't want to
That's fair.
oversaturate the market and just create too much. And
That's
I think that sometimes we get a little bit of that, where franchises have movies and too many TV shows, and it just kind of waters everything down. But I really do like that idea, and it is definitely something that could happen for sure.
Awesome.
That is
So
definitely
the
fair,
next
especially since a lot of
segment is the
people
FNaF movie.
feel
Got
like
some questions
the
for you,
Fazbear Fright
Scott.
books were
First
oversaturated,
off,
me included. I feel
absolutely
like they
love the
didn't go
movie,
as long as they did.
and I
But
know a lot of people.
If I were to approach any writer of a horror movie or any director and say, okay, here are your monsters, go make a monster movie with them, that's easy. You know, you give them all a knife, you go in, you just make your generic slasher, but just have it be, you know, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy doing the slashing. The nuance here is that these animatronics are possessed by the spirits of kids, and these are innocent kids. These are victims themselves. So it's very, very difficult to still have a horror movie, still have those kills that you need, but still preserve the innocence of those kids. And it's a really difficult thing to do. And there were
I think the
several
movie did
screenplays
fantastic with that. I
did
know
not
a lot
hit
of
that
people
mark.
were critical.
And I think I was more
but
cautious
I think
about
they're
that.
just
And more
boring.
picky about that than anything else. It was a tricky thing to do, but I think we were able to accomplish that.
I agree.
I mean, the fort scene as well. I loved the fort scene. I know some people were a bit confused by that, like why?
Uh-huh.
why
I
are they
love it.
building a
You know, at the 11th hour of this movie coming together, we still really didn't have
The Newton brothers did
a
great.
music composer. And I really wanted an animated intro. I was really pushing to have that 8-bit animated intro.
I'm
But we
glad
didn't
you
have
did.
anybody, and really not really anybody to have an idea of what kind of music we were looking for. 11th hour, Newton brothers come in, and they write out that banger of a track. Like,
It's so good.
insane. Like I listened to that the first time, and I was like, wait a minute, do I have a theme song? Does Five Nights at Freddy's have a theme song? You know, and I called you know, Emma Tammy on the phone. I was like, wait, do we have a theme song now? Like, I can't tell you how excited I was over that. And you better believe you're going to hear that again at the beginning of the second movie too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just so incredible. The Newton brothers just knocked that out of the park. So yeah,
It's so
many
good.
things. It's more important to me that if the critics had loved it, but the fan base was grumbling and saying, wait, this isn't how it is in the lore. Wait, we didn't like this. I don't like how they did this and this. And the fan base was unhappy. That would be a failure to me.
I think that's
I'm
more
perfectly
important.
happy with all the critics hating it and the fan base reacting
Good.
positively to
Good.
it.
I
So yes,
think that
it
is
nice
a
that the
million
movie
times
was
more important.
successful. However, that is not the correct metric by which to judge the
I agree.
success of this movie. I went to the very first showing, and the theater
What?
was pretty much empty.
Really?
There were only a couple other people in there, but it was a 1:00 showing.
Oh,
so
that explains it.
I told myself I wasn't going to go online. I wasn't going to read any reviews. I had already told everybody at Blumhouse, and I told my legal team, don't talk to me. I was checking my email, and I accidentally saw one of the reviews, and I saw that it was terrible.
Oh,
And that opened the floodgates, and I went and started reading all of the other reviews. And I immediately texted my family saying, don't come. Don't come. You know, this is over. I want to be by myself. And I was already thinking in my head, like, how am I going to write a letter to Blumhouse apologizing for this? How am I going to write a letter to the fans apologizing to this for just wasting everybody's time?
That's so sad.
And I was just incredibly depressed. But somehow Jason Blum caught wind of this. I don't know who I asked a question to or what I said, but you know, he started just bombarding me with text messages saying, Scott, the fans love it. The fans love it. You know, the movie's a big hit. Everything's great. He was just, you know, in all caps, everything all caps. My phone was just blowing with all caps texts. And so he really talked me through that to try to encourage me that even though the critics hated it, you know, there was a lot to be loved there by the fans. And so then I had my family come into town anyway, and we just sat in a packed theater and listened to, you know, the cheers and enthusiasm, and it really lifted my spirits. But you know, for a couple of hours there, man, I was pretty distraught. I thought the whole thing was just a complete disaster.
But it wasn't.
But it wasn't. It all worked out.
Poor
okay,
Scott.
You know, it all worked
I'm
out
glad
okay.
that.
And again, the movie's not perfect. There's definitely room
No,
to improve.
it isn't. But to me, it's
but
pretty
yeah,
freaking
I'm definitely
close.
happy that it was.
Pit as well.
Definitely
Into the Pit's probably my favourite Fazbear Fright story.
Probably the most normal
So with all
Fazbear
the
Fright
positive
story
feedback
outside
about
of
it,
like Coming Home and
what
what
do
we
you
found.
see for the future of FNaF spin-offs made by other studios in the future?
Oh, it's definitely a possibility. In fact, I'd really like
Ooh,
to start working
Fetch?
on Fetch. I think it'd be a really cool game. So hopefully that'll be the next project. We'll see.
That would
As
be
the
awesome.
As the years go by and the franchise gets bigger and bigger, I don't know. I feel like I've slowly kind of lost touch with the fan base.
I agree, but I
unfortunately,
really
it's
wish-
not that same. It's not that same relationship that it used to be.
I wish it was
I
still
really
the
used to
same.
enjoy chatting with everybody and just kind of I don't know. Used
I
to, I
wish you
kind
would
of
still
could. I
talk
could just
to
go in
us
there and chat with everybody and
casually,
resolve
though.
little problems as if it was like
I
just a
miss seeing
squabble on
you
a
on the
forum. I can
subreddit,
always just step
Scott.
in and solve it. But
Is there anything else you
Ooh,
could hint
please?
at?
Pretty
for the
please,
future?
Scott?
Any
I already told you my hope for the next Mega Cat game, and and there is another game planned with
Mhm.
Steel Wool, but that's not
Okay.
going to be announced for a while yet. So I can't talk about that. But there is
Good to
something
know that
down
there
the
is
pipe.
something.
Okay.
even beyond what's being announced this week. There's something beyond, but I can't talk about that.
Good to
Yeah,
know.
so do you think we're going to have another interview in 10 years' time?
It doesn't have to be 10 years. We can try to do this a little bit more often.
Biggest
I would love
mystery
more
out of
Scott
the
interviews.
whole Help.
Okay. Well, I can try to give somewhat of an answer to that, even though it might not be extremely satisfying for a lot of people.
That's fine. I just
So
would
I
like
would,
an
I
answer.
would, even though at the time something was definitely there, something was definitely reaching out to be there, and I could feel that it was there. The progression of the story didn't go there, and so those strings never got pulled on, and those
Makes sense.
and the other half of that idea remained in the ether, remained in my subconscious. All of that to say, there is something in the box, but I never pursued it, and I don't know if I can find it again. And I think that that's the best answer that I can possibly give for that.
Okay.
Excited for Into the Pit.
I'm so
And
excited
Steel
for
Wars
Into the Pit.
announcement as well. That's so exciting. But yeah, thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. So yeah, we'll both leave now.
All right, sounds
Don't know
good. Thanks
to
for
end it.
having me, Doco. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Scott. Bye, guys. Thank you.
All right. That was a really good interview, and I love so much of the answers that we were given. And I'm always happy to see Scott again. I love Scott. I wish we could hear from him more often. I do have to say, I think the intro was a bit of a cop-out, considering it made it seem like he actually told us what was in the box. I mean, I know Scott, not like I don't literally know him, but I know how he is. So I thought he wasn't gonna give us an answer. But then the intro made it seem like he actually gave an answer. And then at the end, it was kind of a non-answer. Which Scott did say, you know, if you aren't gonna be happy with it, maybe skip it. So I'm not saying I'm not happy with it. I just think it was a bit of false advertising on Taco's part there. So I think if anyone is disappointed by that answer, Daco didn't help. No offense, though. I definitely understand. It's a big question. And it's something hard for Scott to answer. I just wish he could have told us what was originally in the box, you know? It's not telling us what the box is anymore. He's confirmed that the contents of the box have changed over the years, and that does line up with what he said at the end here. I just wish he could have told us what was originally in it, even if it's not canon anymore, you know? But, oh well, I don't even know if I'll end up uploading this, because it's a reaction video, and I don't even have, like, a face cam, so I don't know if anyone would even want to watch this. But I did want to record it, just because I think it's cool to have an archive of this, for myself at least. But, if I did end up uploading this, thanks for watching. I'm sure this will be cut down a lot, because I don't want to just straight up re-upload the interview, you know? Go watch the interview yourself. But, man, I'm so glad that this interview existed, and there was so many great answers in it. So thank you, Scott, and thank you, Daco, for doing the interview. And thank you, Scott, obviously, for the past 10 years. If it wasn't for FNaF, I don't think I'd be around, because this is something I've told my friends before, but during middle school, I really was not doing well mentally, and I was considering, you know, self-deletion, but FNaF wasn't over yet, and I wanted to stick around until it was. And FNaF still isn't over, so I'm still here. Not saying I'm still wanting to self-delete, I mean, maybe sometimes, but that's not the point of this. This is meant to be a happy message. FNaF just means a whole lot to me. I've dedicated the past 10 years of my life to it, and I will always be a big fan of this franchise. I don't think anything could turn me away from it. Even the Mimic, who I initially hated, I've come to like as a character. The execution was poor, but I don't put too much blame on Scott or Steelwolf for that, because Security Breach did have issues that was out of their control. I will say, though, please stop giving us important lore in the books, specifically who the main villain is. I appreciate having the books to fill in the gaps. I don't like having the books give us very important information that should have been in the game. But, you know, if Security Breach was the way it was meant to be, I have a feeling this wouldn't be that big of an issue. But I do think the Mimic's origin should have been in the game, and I don't know if that would have been different. But, man, I'm so interested. Me and Finn had an hour-long talk yesterday about Security Breach and how, trust me, I love the game. It's my favorite FNaF game. But how much I wish we could have experienced what it was meant to be. And I also talked about wanting to learn how to make games and make a Security Breach fan game. That's kind of what started the whole conversation. But, anyways, I'm just kind of rambling on now. I really do love this franchise so much, and I owe so much to you, Scott. So thank you. And thank you, Daco. I'm not subscribed to you on this account, but I am subscribed to you on my other account, just in case anyone is like, why aren't you subscribed to Daco? I have separate YouTube accounts. I have one for general stuff, I have one for FNaF stuff, I have one for Pokemon stuff, I have one for Mario stuff. I just didn't end up switching accounts, so yeah. But I am subbed to Daco, it just isn't on this account. Anyway, thank you. Bye!